Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey personality, best-selling author, Redefining Anxiety, is my co-host today. Michael, going into the break from San Antonio, is getting married in January. His fiancée is $200,000 in debt for a PhD in physical therapy. PTs typically make about 80 grand. He's working for a commercial real estate company making 23. And when he finishes his master's in real estate finance, we'll move into brokerage. He's wanting to figure out how to pay off the $200,000 in student loan debt as they get married, and that's how we left him at the break. Does that sound right, Michael? Did I get all that correctly?
That sums it up.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's go back. I want to dig down a little bit deeper into the actual steps and what you guys should do and shouldn't do. How old are you two?
We're 23.
Okay, and when does she finish school?
May 2022.
So she's got a year and a half left.
Right, the clinicals is the last year.
Okay. I'm unfamiliar with PT clinicals in the sense that, does she get paid?
No, she does not.
Does she pay for that?
Living expenses.
Okay. Well, we got that covered. You're married. And so, okay. And you're making $23,000 for how much longer?
I want to say about 8 to 9 more months.
Okay.
Then it'll be commission only.
And then you'll be straight commission commercial real estate broker.
Yes.
When will your master's be completed?
May 2022 as well.
And you're cash flowing that how?
I'm with this money that I make. We're living at home with my parents.
And you plan to do that ongoing after you're married?
It's not ideal, but that's just how it happened.
Okay. All right. Because here's what I hear in the math, and that's disturbing. You're going to have zero income for approximately the next 2 years. You're going to have $23,000 until you start your full-time brokerage, and then you're going to make nothing until you sell a piece of commercial real estate. And commercial real estate, I've been in real estate my whole life, is not rabbit hunting, it's elephant hunting. There aren't many of them, and when you kill one, you eat well, but it takes a while, and you better have your bullet in your gun when you get there. So 23 years old to close a $10 million property, 24 years old, it can be done. I did it at that age, but it's hard. It's a very, very hard track you put yourself on. And if the market booms in San Antonio, Texas, and you're able to move 3 or 4 pieces of property by the time you're 25 or 26, she lands an $80,000 position, you guys can begin working your way through this. But I hear 2 or 3 years of almost no income. That's just not cool. I think we need a different plan.
And living with your parents, trying to keep a new marriage stable, trying to pay off, would you say 160 grand in student loan debt for her?
Well, it doesn't kick in for 18 more months until she gets out.
Right. It's just a big number, and it's, I'm looking at it in the future.
Well, and what I'm looking at, man, is 2 years living with mom and dad, 2 years of you're going to figure out a way to go from making $23,000 a year, getting a master's, and making less. And then you're going to be 2 years into living at home, 2 years into a new marriage, 2 years into not making any money, 2 years into her
finishing her
grinding out clinicals, which is a tough. Medical clinicals are hard, man. They take a lot of your heart, mind, and soul. You are just adding stressor on top of stressor on top of stressor. And for this fragile new marriage, living at your parents' house for 24 months, 36 months, man, that's a tough way to get shot out of the cannon.
Let's pretend there's not $200,000 in student loan debt. Okay? What you're prescribing or what you've lined up with almost no income for 24 months and living in your parents' house in your first year while she's doing clinicals in your first year of marriage, there's a lot of stress there, a lot. There's like 5 layers before we get to the student loans. And it's all related to a lack of income. And so I'm not sure you're going to be able to stay on the track you're going to be able to stay on and keep your young family and your marriage healthy emotionally, because you're going to be doing it with almost no income.
And it's somebody else's rules, right?
I mean, you talk to the brokers in your who are you working for? Which company? Cushman Wakefield?
No, we're out of Austin. Equitable Commercial Realty. It's a small firm, but we primarily do office leases. So it's not just building sales. It's primarily leases.
Yeah.
Which is a little quicker than full building sales, but you still got to work it out.
Plus or minus pandemic.
Right.
Right.
2 years from now, after 2 years of Zooming under our belts, it's going to be a very interesting proposition, brother.
On office space, and leasing. Yeah, leasing, you can close a lease and you can start getting some money in if that's where you're making most of your money. Anyway, I would sit and talk to your broker and say, in the current environment, with this product line, when do you see me actually making money when I go to brokerage? And don't hype my butt. Tell me what the typical guy in here does, and I'm 24 years old at this point trying to do this. Can I do it? Now, hey, man, I was selling real estate at your age, residential, while I was in school. I was younger than you at 20, 21, and interest rates went to 17%. The market was impossible, and I still sold some houses, but it's just because I worked all the time. And I sold houses in spite of the fact that I was 21 years old with a Magnum PI mustache wearing a disco suit, and people still bought houses from me, right? Because all I did was just outwork my youth, outwork my stupidity, outwork my ignorance. You're way sharper than I was then. But I kind of had the same dream. That's why I wanted to talk to you a little bit further, because I wanted to be a commercial real estate guy. That's what I wanted to be. And first job out of school was I did syndication deals, which they don't do anymore. But so I'm worried about your lack of income. If you can get more comfortable with your income, as soon as she kicks in, let's say you start making 100. A guy doing what you're talking about doing in a normal economy, after a little bit of time to build up some credibility and build up a pipeline, you can make 100 a year doing what you're talking about. You could make 200 a year doing what you're talking about. She should make in the 80 range. And so if you're making $100 to $200,000 a year, you can pay off $200,000 in student loan debt. Student loan is bad. It's horrible, but it doesn't scare me for you guys like this thing where you make zero money. So you need to sit down and talk to your broker and get some realistic expectations, and then start figuring out, is there a side job, or is the brokerage thing a side job while I feed my new wife and we get a household? Because I got to tell you, she's going to be living with her mother-in-law while she's doing medical clinicals. I don't care how great a woman your mom is. That's a hard prescription. That's a tough one.
It's a real
tough one. And in 90% of the households, it's beyond tough.
Right.
Occasionally you have I've got a friend whose mother-in-law is her idol, but how unusual that is, so,
and it may be that you put your commercial real estate dream on hold and get
a little bit to feed your young
family.
$30,000
or $40,000 a year job, get an apartment, and y'all grind it out. She's got a year and a half left, and then when she starts making money,
it's not a bad idea.
Then if that's still what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Or go get your license and start selling residential real estate for a couple of years until you can, and you won't lose anything by that.
No, you can make your move, and you got a better shot at selling houses. But it can be done. It can be done. I mean, I would.
You're just stacking the deck against your new marriage. You're stacking the deck against your.
I'm just trying to think from a customer experience standpoint. We've leased offices. Winston, my son-in-law, we're the customer. And so would we sit down with a 24-year-old and do a lease deal? Yeah, as long as he knew his stuff.
Right.
I'm not going to hold his age against him, but you better know your dadgum stuff or you're going to get filleted.
But I also would want to know, does the folks in his firm, if Dave Ramsey calls and says, I want to do a deal, are they going to let the 24-year-old go run out and do that? Or are they going to keep rolling you back to the bottom of that pile there?
That's a good point.
You were on your own, Dave. When you work for a firm,
that's true.
First in gets the stuff that falls to the
floor.
Michael,
please study the income side of this equation and the housing side of this equation and try to lower the number of stressors. As long as you guys get your incomes moving by 25 years old, I think you're going to be able to handle the $200,000 maybe easier than some of the other stuff. That's what's scaring me for you, young man. And we want nothing but good things for you, I can tell you that. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.